Hello everyone. In today's Computer Networks lab class, we will discuss about program 4. Program 4 goes like this. Implement simple ESS and with transmitting nodes in wireless LAN by simulation. Okay, and determine the performance with respect to transmission of packets. So here we need to implement the ESS. What is ESS? It is extended service set. I'll tell you in detail what is this ESS is about. And of course it's actually with transmitting nodes. In a wireless LAN, we do not have any wired LAN here. It is purely wireless. Clear? So that is the difference from program 3 and program 4. Program 3 we learnt about wired LAN, right? Ethernet. So here we are learning about wireless LAN. And of course the nodes would be mobile here, right? Because it can be moving here and there. And of course we will be simulating here, and we need to determine the performance with respect to the transmission of packets. So how do we measure it then? Of course with throughput, right? Throughput or network throughput. What is it exactly? It is the rate of successful message delivery over a communication channel. Rate of successful message delivery over a communication channel. Clear? So now we'll see more details about what is this extended service set. Just a few theory points so that you are clear about what are you going to implement here. See, whenever you configure the wireless device, right, wireless access device, you notice a field called service set ID, SSID. Even whenever you in your Wi-Fi setup, right, if you even in your phone, if you just check that one in your settings, you will find that SSID. For example, I'll just show you here in my laptop how I have connected to Wi-Fi. Okay, I have connected it through my phone, right? Even here I have a ID. Okay, I'll just show that to you. Yes. So I'll just go to the properties. You can check the same thing in your phone also. See here, SSID. In properties I have this SSID because I have connected my Galaxy. Sometimes it will come in the down. Okay. Yeah, so some whatever name I have given in my phone, right, whenever I was making my phone as the hotspot, the same thing comes here. That means this is the SSID. Okay, yeah. So when you configure your wireless access device, you notice a field called service set ID. Okay, that is called a service set ID, SSID. So you must configure all connecting devices. I should actually configure for this name only, this ID only, and access points. You must configure all connecting device and access points in a service set to use the same SSID. That's true, right? How much of a device I am connecting, I need to use the same SSID. Here I have connected I have just made a hotspot on my mobile, and I have connected the same. I have connected my laptop to the same Wi-Fi. Right, so that's why I've used the same SSID. So, okay, now I know what is SSID. And the two types of service sets. Here we read that one, right? So, what did we read here? Just go through it once again. When you configure your wireless access device, you notice a field called service set ID. You must configure all connecting device and access points in a service set. Right, service set to use the same SSID. Now what is service set here? So two types of service sets are there. First one is basic service set, and the second one is extended service set. This is what we are implementing now, extended service set. Right, so what is the difference between these two? In a basic service set, it consists of group of computers and only one access point. It has group of computers and only one access point, which links to a wired LAN. So that is all about BSS, basic service set. Only one access point and all are connected to a wired LAN. Whereas in ESS, which we are going to implement, extended service set, this ESS consists of more than one AP, more than one access point. Okay, here we had only one, here we have more than one access point. So in ESS, let's mobile users. So as mobile users roam anywhere within the area covered by multiple access points. Now what is this access point? Access point is a device that creates a wireless local area network or WLAN. Hope the concept is clear. What is this ESS? So now let us see how can we implement a wireless LAN, and how can I have node movement, and how do I generate the traffic? I need to have multiple of access points, right? I'll generate two different traffic, and I'll have both TCP and UDP protocols, and then I need to calculate the throughput. Let us see the code now. First of all, I would like to inform you that you should watch program 1 so that you will get the basic programming concepts of NS2. For example, a few default things I will not be explaining it in detail here. So if you are already aware of that, then it would be more clear. So please learn program 1 or watch program 1 video, and then you can check this out. So to start with, as usual, we are creating the simulator here. So set NS new simulator. After that, we need to set the setup topography object. So what are we doing here? We are actually setting the network topography. Okay. So what is the syntax for that? Set topo new topography. So here, and then what we do? We are actually defining the X and Y axis. Okay. So grid, basically flat grid. So what is the grid dimension in which you will play around with your wireless sensor nodes? So here 1500 by 1500 is your flat grid for your network topology. Okay. So open NS trace file. This I have already explained in previous programs. We are just opening the trace file here. Okay, and then NAM file, right? There is one special thing here, because with the NAM file you are also mentioning this thing, so this line is extra. Otherwise, apart from that, I have already explained what is NAM file and what is trace file in program 1. So NAM trace all wireless, this one line is extra because I need a one network topology, network grid basically. So that's why I am including this one extra line here. So after that, now we are coming to the important concept of this particular program. Here the main intention is to have the wireless nodes, and also the nodes are mobile. So mobile node parameter setup. So from here to here, all the things, right? So these are all the important parameters that we need to set up for a mobile node. Clear? For wireless sensor node, you have to remember all these things. You have to actually set up all these parameters for wireless mobile nodes. So what is the first one? Yes, $ns node config ad hoc routing DSDV. What is this DSDV? DSDV stands for destination sequence distance vector. Okay, destination sequence distance vector. So that is the, what exactly is that? It's actually a routing protocol used in ad hoc routing. So this is the routing, DSDV is the routing protocol used in ad hoc routing. DSDV stands for destination sequence distance vector. So that is the routing protocol that we are using. Yes, we have defined that, and then we know, right, what are the two sublayers of the data link. We have already studied that in previous program, that is program 3. So they are logical link layer. So LL type is LL slash, and then the other sublayer is, first one is logical link control, and the other one is MAC, right? For MAC here, for wireless we need to use 802.11. So that means 802.11. Do you remember in program 3 we used 802.3. So 802.3 is for wired LAN. Here 802.11 is actually for wireless. Okay, so MAC I need to use _11 here. So these two done, logical link layer control layer, and then the MAC control I am done. So next I need to define the queue. Okay, interface queue. IFQ is nothing but interface queue type. What is the queue? Queue is the drop type. So this one is actually the class and this comes the subclass. Okay, so yeah, here I am using drop tail queue, right, and this one is interface queue length. IFQL len is nothing but queue length. I am defining it as 20. Next comes phi type. What is this PHY? It is actually the network interface type. Okay, so network interface type is the wireless physical interface. So wireless physical interface. So network interface type is wireless physical interface. So next comes channel type. Of course I know it's wireless channel, so I am defining that here. And then prop type. Propagation. What propagation are you using? It's 2-ray ground. Okay, so propagation is actually 2-ray ground. And antenna type, ant type. So antenna, omni antenna. I am using the omni antenna here. It means it's like all direction antenna. That means 360 degree. So you have other 2 more types as well. For unidirection is only 90, bidirection is 180, and omni antenna is actually for 360 degree. Okay, so next I have topo instance. Okay, we'll set that as topo. I've already defined that, right? And then yes, agent trace I'm keeping it as on, and then router trace I'm keeping it as on again. Agent I've already discussed. So in actually in the trace file you will see these things actually, agent and then root, both we'll see the logs for both of them. So I'm keeping both the traces as on here. So here I have set up all the, I've defined all the parameters here. Okay, so that is done. Now I need to actually define my nodes. Means nodes parameters are done. Now I need to know how many nodes I need, what are the, like anyway it is wireless, right? That means they are not connected, but where do I place those nodes? I need to check with all that. So I basically, before that I am creating God, God, God. Okay, I create God 6. What are these gods? So this God is nothing but General Operation Director. GOD stands for General Operation Director. What does it mean? It's an object. Okay, wireless nodes can actually move, right? So and of course their distance from one another will be changing over time, right? So to keep track of their position in the topology grid, what we actually do is we create the General Operation Director, that is God object. We saw here I need 6 nodes, so I am creating 6 God. Okay, God objects. Okay, fine. And here I am actually defining the position of each and every node. Set n0, so I am creating n0, and x-axis, y-axis I am defining, z-axis 0. Why I am only actually doing 2-dimensional, right? I am just plotting on a graph. I'm not doing any 3-dimensional. That's why you can see everywhere z component is actually, z-axis is 0. It's not 3-dimensional, it's only 2-dimensional. So I am playing around only with x and y. Okay, yeah. So same way, node 0 done. Set initial node position n0 20. So this 20 is nothing but the size of the node. You can increase it actually or decrease also, like it actually you are defining the size of the node here. Initial node position I have set x, y, z, so it will place it accordingly, and node size is 20. Same way I am defining node n1, n2, n3, n4, n5. okay, and so up to 0 to 5 means I have created 6 nodes. So create God 6. So I am done with that. Next, of course, I have defined node parameters. I have created nodes. Now I need to just define the agents. We have already discussed what are agents in program 1. So here I am using UDP connection as well as TCP connection both. So we know that, right? We create the agents and then we attach the agent to the particular node. So by attaching it, that particular node will start actually working on the UDP protocol. So that's how we do, right? So yeah, attach agent n0 UDP I am using, and here attach agent n4 null one, and then yes, I am connecting it. So actually, and also I am setting up the packet size as 1500. We have already couple of times we have discussed in other programs about how to set up the UDP connection. And again here TCP, I am creating the TCP agent here, and then attach agent, I am attaching it to N3. N0 is working on UDP and N3 is actually working on TCP, right? So new agent TCP link, and we are attaching it with again N5, N0 and N4 on UDP, and here N3 and N5 on TCP. Clear? So we have created both TCP and UDP agents, and we have attached it to nodes as well. Next, what is our next job? Next, of course, we know, right? This is transport layer we are done with, and next we need to actually create the application layer protocol. So what are they? Till now we have worked on CBR, constant bitrate, as well as the file transfer protocol, FTP. Here we are using both of them again. So CBR I am using, I am creating the agent, and then packet size, I am defining the rate, random null, everything, and here I am actually creating the FTP. I am creating the FTP agent. We will utilize it whenever we want that, right? That's how we used to use that. And here I have the termination procedure, finish program. I'll get back to it whenever I call that. Anyway, here is my actual sequence, right? So actually this ns run will actually run this particular program, and at time 1 what I do, I'll start the constant bitrate 0, CBR 0. I'll just start that one. Whatever traffic I have defined here, I'll just start producing it. So CBR is here, right? So I'll start this one, CBR 0. So that traffic will start at time 1, and at time 2 again my FTP traffic will start, right? And after 180 time, then I am actually stopping FTP, and then 200, at time 200 I am stopping CBR, right? At 200 I am calling finish procedure. Okay, so what am I doing in my, anyway before that at 70 itself, at 200 only I am calling finish, but at 70, so N4 I am setting the destination node, that means I am changing the position of the node because they are actually mobile, right? So even here at 100 this node again becomes it mobile. I am changing the direction, and at N4 again it becomes mobile, right? So XY axis I am changing it, so it keeps changing the direction, its position, right? And then what happens at finally I am calling the, I am just finishing the program with this finish procedure. So what am I doing here? As usual, like the same way we have used this finish procedure in other programs, I am like closing all the trace file, NAM file, I am then executing NAM file so that I'll get the network animation window open, and I am also actually echo is nothing but printf, right? So number of packet dropped is, actually I'll just count for the capital D's that are in the trace file. Here in this trace file actually it get printed as capital D. Previous programs we used to use small d, right? Here we should use capital D, and yeah, that means the number of packets dropped are capital D. I'll just search and I'll put the count, and then I exit. But see, do you remember in the program I was actually by reading the program definition, what I was supposed to do, I am actually supposed to determine the performance with respect to transmission of packets. So how do I check the performance? I'll actually calculate the throughput of it, right? I need to calculate the throughput. Now let us see how do I calculate the throughput. In this program at least I haven't done that one, right? So I am using, this is a TCL script that I am going to save, that is any program name .tcl. Okay, I am also using one more awk file. Awk file is nothing but one more file with extension .awk. Okay, .awk. So what am I doing that in the, what am I doing in that file, or why do I need that awk file, AWK file? See, that AWK is actually a high level programming language, okay, which is actually used to process text file. For example, trace file is one of the text file, right? So these awk files, awk file language is actually specialized in processing the text file, okay. So these awk scripts are actually very good in processing the data from the log file. Log files are nothing but trace files which we get from NS2, okay. So they are good in processing actually the trace files that we get from NS2. So that means we are actually easily we can actually process and get the output from the log files, okay, trace files. So this is you need to write, see, this is my awk file, you need to write this one, okay, you need to write this code and save it as .awk extension, okay, you need to save this as .awk extension. So what and all we have in this? Initially I have count 0, count 1, count 2, packet 1, packet 2, time 1, time 2. I am initializing everything as 0, okay. So next I am starting this one. I told you one thing, RTR is nothing but router, right? Router, whatever, actually it will take the trace file that got, first you need to run the TCL file that we discussed, anyway it will generate a trace file, right? So this one will take the trace file as input, okay, and see here, for example, I have opened my trace file of program 4 which I have run previously. See, what am I doing? $1 is nothing but my first column of the trace file. So here that means received, R means received, S means sent, and D means packet dropped, right? So R, received, wherever I have received it, right? And column 3, where is it? 1, 2, 3, column 3. Wherever I have 1, that is nothing but node number. These are all the node numbers. Node number 1. So I'm just checking node number 1, like, because that is my sink, right? So how many packets are received? It should be received and it should be node number 1, and also it should be router trace. What and all we have, see, this is router trace. I have switched on both router trace as well as agent trace. This is my agent trace, AGT, that you see here. So I am actually checking only the router trace here. So R, router trace, received, router trace, and node number 1. Clear? Okay, so I'm calculating it for one particular node, that is node number 1. So I'm just checking for these 3 values, and if there is a row with that, I'm just counting all the rows, okay. I'll just keep on increasing this count 1. Clear? So next what am I doing? Packet 1, how many packets that I have here, right? So packet 1 plus 8th value, 8th column value. 8th is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This 32. So what is this field basically? This field is actually, this column is nothing but the FID field. That is nothing but flow ID, okay. Flow ID for IPv6, whatever flow ID we use, right, IPv6. So that actually we are using to count the packets that a user can actually set for each flow in the TCL script, right. So here basically we send number of packets only. That's why I am actually adding, we actually generally send number of packets as the flow ID, okay, that is in this 8th field. So to calculate how many packets have been received, I am just adding up all these flow IDs here, FID, flow ID of IPv6. Clear? So this is what I am doing here. And then time. Time is actually from second column I am picking it. What does my second column has? This is the time, right? What time I received it. That means I'm just picking up the latest time each time I count it, because I'm not adding it up, because it is the continuous time, right? So I'm just picking up the latest time. Maybe for next time when I get the received packet, count will increase, packet size will be like added up, but time I get the latest time. I'm just copying the latest time, right? Because I get the by what time how many packets were received and how many transactions happened, right? How many transmissions happened. So these three things I keep counting. Same way I'm doing it for node 2, node 1 as well as node 2. Clear? Same way. I'm just, that's why I have two pairs sets of count, packet and then time. So yeah, after counting all this throughput, how am I calculating it here? Throughput from N0 to N1 in Mbps. I'm calculating it in Mbps, and what am I doing? Count into packet, right? That means how many transaction into number of packets into 8. Why 8 here? Because 1 byte is equal to 8 bits, right? I am doing it as megabits. If I just calculate all these things, the multiplication of count, packet and then 8, so then I get total bits of transmission, right? Bits per time, whatever time I have taken, and time into, this is in mega, right? Mega. That's why I am actually having these number here, 1 followed by 6 zeros. That is nothing but mega, right? So as it is in megabits per second, I am actually multiplying 8 here and then I am multiplying 10 lakh. That is nothing but mega, right? So this one is for N0 and this one is for N1. The same thing I am repeating for N1. So like this you can use awk file for any program and every program. It just helps you to read the data and then give you the calculated output. Okay. Now let us see the execution for the same. I have logged into Ubuntu. Now let me open the terminal. So first I need to type in the TCL code that we discussed. So pi pp4.tcl. So type in the code, the first one that I told, .tcl file I explained, right? So you need to type in that file, then press escape and then colon WQ, press enter. So now we need to run this one. So ns pp4.tcl. So yeah, the program ran successfully. My NAM file got executed and also trace file got generated. Right, now you can see the animation as well here. You can check the animation. See, the nodes are moving as well, and then you can see the packets. Okay, just observe the behavior here. So now the number of packets dropped count. So the count you can just verify it with your trace file as usual that we did in the previous one, right? So just search for the capital D in the trace file that you have generated or your program has generated. So the count should match. Just search Control F capital D. Yeah. So the count is matching, right? So that means yes, my trace file is correct now. Now let me write the awk file. Let me create the awk script .awk script, right? I need to, yes, my count is correct now. Let me start with the awk file now. I'll just close this one. So vi, I'll just give some file name pp4.awk awk file. Okay, so here you need to type in the awk script that I mentioned, explained. Type in the code properly. I've just pasted it here. Type in the code, then again the same escape. hit escape and then colon WQ. Yeah, so now my awk script is also saved. Just observe carefully to run this one, right? The command is little different. Just observe it carefully. You need to type awk space -f space pp4.awk p4.trace. Just observe that command. So you are just giving the awk file as well as the trace file as input, okay, and after that you get the throughput of no n0 and then n1. So that is the final output that you need to show. Just be careful with the command for running the awk file. It is awk space -f and then you have to give the awk file name and then the trace file name .tr. Okay, so yeah, this is all about the execution. Thank you.